Welcome to Fem Wisdom YouTube channel. Our topic for today is, what do you want? Why? Why do you want more money? Why do you want a bigger car? Why do you want a better job? Why do you want a better body? Why do you want to get married? Why do you want to get divorced? You know, all these things that are pushing you to take certain action, take certain steps to achieve or fulfill a certain desire. If you think back and ask yourself, why do you want those things? Why is having these things important to you? When the devil knows that you're desperate for something, he will use that thing to cause you suffering. He will make your life difficult, knowing that he can use your desire to hook you, to drag you around, to torment you, to torture you, which is why it is important to know that when what I want, what I desire is becoming difficult to achieve, I would need to pause first and ask myself whether this desire is sanctioned by God. Because when God ordains something to be in your life, you get it effortlessly, almost like you didn't have to do anything to get it. It just comes into your life. But in this world where everything is difficult, we have come to associate difficulty as struggle with the way of life. So whatever you haven't struggled for, you feel like you're not justified it or you don't deserve it. God authorizes some things to come into our lives, but sometimes we can be chasing the wrong things such that we force his hand maybe to put a pause on the kind of things that he would have wanted to release into our lives in that season. So for instance, I could be chasing a perfect spouse, a perfect marriage partner, and yet the season that God has in place for me is at that time maybe to focus on seeking his face, maybe, or to focus on writing a certain book, or to focus on going deeper into worship, into prayer. A certain season in my life where God, if it was God to be asked, what should Soleil be doing now? He would say, in this season, I would like her to focus on worship. So how do I know what to focus on in my life that is in line with God's will? Well, first of all is to review and see what are the kind of things I'm chasing now, and out of those things, which ones are proving difficult to achieve. Then I remove them from the list. Then I go back to God and find out from him, what is your will for me in this season? You see, Jesus did not struggle to heal. Elijah did not struggle to call for and to receive fire from God to burn the sacrifice that he had placed on the altar. Apostle Paul never struggled to write. He struggled with other things, but in that season, him writing the epistles for us was a priority for them, and he was enabled and empowered to do so, despite being in jail, despite being in shipwrecks, despite being in difficult circumstances. The oil for writing the epistles kept flowing, and he had the perfect circumstances around him that pushed and propelled him to write these perfect epistles that we read now in the New Testament, and that form the majority of the books in the New Testament. There are three drivers that propel our desires. Our desire for things. I want this, I want it now. I'm willing to do anything for it. I'm willing to push until I get it. I feel that I deserve this. There are three drivers that push and propel us to these very strong desires. One is you want to achieve certain things to prove a point, especially to those around you. You want to prove a point to those around you that I am more than what you guys think I am. That's one thing that can drive you into pursuing some crazy things. Two, you can be driven by your own inferiority, where you feel like your value is derived from the things that you have or from the things that you achieve. And thirdly, you can be chasing things because you're trying to silence your fear. Like if you look around your family and there are certain patterns that you see that are evil or that are not good, you want to chase certain things, make certain achievements that prove to you that the patterns of your family are not your portion. But you see, the antidote to fear is faith, not things. So consider your life and ask yourself, what am I chasing? What am I pursuing? what do I want, and why do I want those things? If I look at it and find that I'm propelled by either fear or inferiority or to prove a point, already this means that God is not in it. God is not in that pursuit, which means I'm going to struggle. It's going to be difficult to get them. It's going to be difficult to keep them. It's going to be difficult to grow them, even if I do get those things. For instance, if you won the lottery, what are the odds that you would apply those funds to productive things? It's almost nil. But if you were to work over a period of time on something productive, something that adds value, if you do get a good return from it, chances are that you would invest those returns in positive things, in a productive kind of things. Our desires are very closely linked to our flesh and our ego. So if I can silence my flesh and silence my ego long enough to isolate my fleshly desires from my spiritual desires, those desires that are aligned to the will of God for my life, then I cut off stress out of my life by a very big margin. I'll be chasing the things that are in line with God's will for me. Then I abandon everything else that just keeps me running around the mountain, and the devil chasing me, torturing, tormenting, and causing me heartache. Yeah, so in this video, I just wanted to bring that out, that think about why you want what you want, and whether is it a valid reason, is it a reason that can stand the test of time as far as the word of God is concerned. Have you consulted God about the kind of things you're chasing, you're pursuing? Or are you just trying to fill a gap, that human need to be seen, to be heard, to be applauded, to be to get public acclaim, to be worshipped, to be noticed? All those needs, let me call them needs in quotes, are fleshly kind of needs, are fleshly. As a child of God, whether you're applauded by the masses or not, it should never cause you to waver in your walk of faith. When I know what God expects of me, it doesn't matter what anybody says or doesn't say. In fact, when I know what God expects of me and I'm committed to doing it, even if I'm alone in the world, I will still do it. I would still do it. So this attachment to public acclaim, public approval, attachment to compliments, you want what do you call it, you want something like a cheering squad to urge you on. What you don't realize is that the human heart is wicked, and the same people who are cheering you on will be the same people who will be tearing you down. So it's better to live your life pursuing God and the things He wants you to do, rather than pursuing people. And by people, I mean even those closest to you, and I mean your family, your very immediate family. They can say this or the other thing, but it should not be the determinant of what you do and don't do. Right? So that's a thought for today. See you on the next video.